For too many people, the only escape from unsustainable debt is long-term bankruptcy, economic inactivity, or emigration. I know this.
But we must do more to help families who feel that for them, time is running out. Families who are making a genuine effort, but who are still falling behind with their mortgage. And that is why the Taoiseach and I have taken personal responsibility to drive this agenda forward.
We've heard it repeatedly, just how much of a priority it is for this government to deal with the problem of mortgage arrears. And we were told last September that we were very close to seeing real action.
People will judge it for themselves. I mean, judge this government by what we do. And people aren't going to have to wait very long to see what we are going to do.
Yet the government has now said that the long-awaited publication of the Personal Insolvency Bill is delayed by 2 months. It means that the setting up of a state-run service for dealing with bad debt will be well into next year. Experts say that people in arrears being pursued in the courts are being let down.
It's very important that we move on with introducing this piece of legislation as soon as possible, and not just because the IMF EU bailout have insisted that we do it, and the Law Reform Commission has been calling on it to be done for quite some time. But I think as a matter of practice, you see in the courts, particularly every Monday in the High Court list for repossessions, a very unsatisfactory regime that operates.
The crisis in mortgage debt is underlined by the latest figures, showing that those struggling to pay grew from 8% of all mortgage holders in September last year to 9% at the end of the year. Last year, over 600 properties were handed back to the banks, over 400 surrendered or abandoned, and nearly 200 repossessed. An apartment in this building in Clane, County Kildare, is now threatened with repossession. Its owner, David Morrissey, is in arrears for €16,000. He got a solicitor's letter today demanding vacant possession. Last year, when he realised his income was drying up, he tried to reach an arrangement with his bank.
Because I had signed an agreement, they were holding me to that agreement, even though I had absolutely no physical way to keep up with that agreement. As soon as I did start missing payments, then I really found that I was in trouble. Well, if the bank would come to an arrangement with me that I would pay a certain amount of money, either per month or per year or per week, whatever frequency, and I could then make sure that I had some money that I was able to do that, I would be quite happy to engage them.
I think it's very typical of what's happening in practice, and that's measured by what's happening in the courts. Last Monday in the High Court there were 8 repossession orders made, some of them in very similar situations to the individual concerned in this case study.
The Personal Insolvency Bill reforms our bankruptcy law and proposes setting up a state insolvency service to keep people out of the courts. It sets up 3 voluntary debt settlement systems for those with unmanageable debts, including mortgages. It also introduces a trustee or go-between between the mortgage holder and the bank to ensure negotiation by both sides.
I think they're more likely to treat these negotiations under the new arrangement more seriously than they have done to date, principally because of this new player, namely the trustee, who will do the negotiation on behalf of the borrower and may lend some credibility and independence to the entire process that hasn't existed before.
The Department of Justice says the Personal Insolvency Bill is delayed because of its very lengthy and complex provisions. But many believe it's because the banks want to retain a veto on any negotiated debt settlements. It's a position they're now being asked to review.
The sticking point is that, to all intents and purposes, the provider of the mortgage on your home has a veto. They can say, no, we don't agree with this proposal, and then the proposal is dead. The bank's concern is that if you interfere with the mortgage contract, if you allow somebody independent to adjudicate and to reduce somebody's outstanding mortgage, that this will apply to thousands or potentially hundreds of thousands of people. And that would be very bad for the banks, but very, very bad for society as well.
While the detail is crucial for creditors and debtors alike, the delay in a new insolvency regime leaves struggling homeowners in debt with little room to manoeuvre.